Hey, my loves, it's Mandy, aka Mandylicious. How are you guys doing today? Beautiful Saturday. I might go out today. I don't know. I've been isolated and I love it, but I also need to get out. I want to come on here and talk about this deep topic. Um, Guilt and shame from anything that happened in our past, as far as being able to love our children, love family, love, period. Because a lot of us are taught or we're raised in a very, 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 very toxic environment. We also have a lot of trauma and stuff that happens as a child that we shouldn't allow. So when I hit 19, I got pregnant with my first child. I was scared at first, but I was like, this baby is mine. This is gonna be a creation of Mandylicious, and super excited. And then after I had my first child at 19, I got pregnant at 20. Well, had him at 20, and I got pregnant at however it goes. They're a year and 11 days apart. That's all I know. After that, I said, oh, hell no, I'm not married. I'm not ready to have any more at all. I told the doctor, get him out. Tie me, burn me, I don't care. And that's what happened. So we have our children, and fast forward to the 10 years I was with them. I gave him a year to quit doing what he was doing, and he didn't. But I'll say about 6 to 8 months in, because when I noticed he wasn't going to give it up, um, I would pray to God to take the love away. It took me a long time to love him, but when I love, I love. So during that time period that I gave him the year to quit, because it was really ruining our family, um, I seen he wasn't quitting. So to fast forward a little bit more, he never quit at that time. And I was really hurt. Our family had to be, we weren't married, but it's like a family when you have two children. I'm not even going to lie. It's like two children. Nobody wants to be without the father after 2 kids, 3 kids, 4. You want to always try to make it work. But God also knows that, like, he won't give us what we can't handle. Well, I went through, because he's older. He's 14 years older, and he's from another country. He's actually a good guy, but relationship-wise, what we had does not affect whatever he is out here, because he's a good guy. He took my children and left to Ohio, and I was in Florida. I called the Popo, and in Florida, I don't know what it is, but we had, the laws are different. He knew that. There was nothing I can do, even as the mother. So we brought him up here, and I went through hell. I went through hell, you guys. Even going to buy my kids cell phones, and I didn't even get a cell phone until I was probably 18 or 19. My children are like 10 and 11, 11 and 12, and I'm sending them cell phones so I can get a hold of them, because after he took them, he would make sure to make my life hell. Those were his last words when he left. Either you come with me and these boys, or I make your life a living hell. I'll never forget those words. But I forgive him now, but I'm gonna keep on this story. So we got up here, used my children as like kind of like a pawn. You know how it goes when you ain't got nowhere to go, or you just up and leave and whatever. So where I'm from in this little town, my whole name was bashed. And when my twin was alive before she died, she would be the one to stick up for me and tell a few of her friends up here, like, yo, he's totally lying. And those were the actual people, like Becky and them. They witnessed a lot that you would never see unless because it usually happens behind closed doors. Well, I went through a lot of my period without my children. I would come up here and get them for the summers, because we ended up going to court and everything. But he had them for a whole year before I could get the $5,000 for the lawyer, before I could get off work, before I could get money to travel, make sure my car is right. So since they were already here a year, the judge granted, unless I can prove he didn't have food, or no bills were paid or something, I don't know. But I didn't have none of that. I just came up to fight for custody for them. And I understood the judge. He's like, they've already been residing here for a year. They're in school. So if you decide to move within a certain amount of mileage, go to plan B, which is like every other week and every other weekend. So I was getting them in the summers and stuff. And, there was just a lot going on, because when your children are, I want to say, brainwashed or programmed by the mother or father, whichever one is doing this to the other parent and the children, they start getting like, they get angry inside, or they might even question, why don't she love me? Because my kid's father, I got with somebody that had 9 kids altogether. Started with 5, because the last 2 were 2 sets of twins when we were together. He would tell my children that, you see your mommies with all them children and she don't love you guys, but like, it affected especially my oldest a lot, because even though my youngest was like always with me, my oldest, we were just always solid. That's my first son. Like, what? I just want you guys to know, when I went through that period, I was against a brick wall for everything, to calling, to finding a way, to sending gifts. I did everything in my power, but the children still didn't see their mommy. They weren't like, twice a year is not enough for a child, I would think, because like I would want to see mine at least almost every day. But so I got him ripped away from me. I want you guys to know, like, this is 20 years later, maybe 18 years later. I had to forgive him, and that was just part of our relationship, but I chose to stay. Okay, I chose to stay. I take accountability for that, for my choices. Now I do. I don't play victim like, oh my God, how can you do that to me? Because when a child is ripped from you, your own creation, that shit hurts. That shit is beyond, like, and imagine what the kids go through. They just got their mommy or daddy yanked from them. And this is any situation anybody can be in with their children. It's not, I'm just giving this story. So what happened is, it was like, they were like 14 and 15. I moved up here. I tried to give it like, I ain't gonna lie, guys, 4 or 5 chances. This man did make my life hell. Like, he was, I don't want to say too much, like, anything disrespectful, because, you know, family and children. And even though he dogged my name out here, and it's like, when I got back here, I had to like, that mug's lying. Like, I was always defending myself, but why? I didn't do anything to deserve it, but I thought I was doing the right thing back then, and I did do the right thing. Because we deserve for us and our children. Now, if you have a similar incident that happened, I'm going to fast forward it to right now. I had forgiven him. It took years. Him and my mother were the last 2 I had to forgive. I even forgave my molesters and everything else before I forgave my kid's father and her. After I forgave him, you know when you really forgive, because when you see that person, you're not like getting all this anger build up. It's just like seeing a stranger, like, hey, how you doing? And that's all it should be for most people. I cannot, until certain people change certain things about them, and it's not through judgment, it's about having that certain energy around you that will either try to bring you down, or just dark energy. And certain dark energies haven't changed in people yet. So when you see or know things, you stop being hard-headed and stubborn like Mandy, and you stop it before you even allow it in. So to this day, I do have a great relationship with both of my children. I have a grandbaby. I'll go in more detail one day. I got to get like an SD card or something for my phone. But I want you to know you'll make it. And this is the biggest thing I want you to know. When I first had them around, I was doing everything in my power to prove to them that I was like the perfect mom. Like, I'm still that same person that when you were ripped from me. But my oldest was the hardest, and I understand, because, you know, when you believe something, you're taught things, you believe it, right? We all know this. Everybody's programmed. So after one day, I stepped up to my son and I said, you know what? I think he was 16 then. Rent's paid here. You got your little job. Somebody wants to move in. I'm not taking this shit no more. And not that I was always right, because I was wrong with him a lot too, because I wasn't healed or anything. So it was stirring up anger and hate. And it would even go towards like the father, because like, how could you put this in my child's head? And they're over here thinking I'm doing this and this. And I kept trying to prove myself, and I would run into a brick wall, you guys. I do nothing but get hurt. Like, why is he doing this? Like, I can't do anything to make him happy or show him that I love him. But it took both of us, and it took me standing up for myself and saying, I'm going to leave out this door. Either you forgive me, I forgive you, and we start over right here, or I'm gone. Like, I was to my point of like, it don't matter how good of a heart you have, we'll be in toxic situations where we will defend ourselves to the end and we still didn't get nowhere. Because when you're dealing with somebody who doesn't take accountability or even acknowledge what they did, or they always have to have the last word, like I was up against that all the time. And when I finally stopped is when I seen my children crying. Because in all reality, we don't get nowhere. Everybody's whole day is ruined, or you're mentally controlled by that person until you forgive them. You know why? Because they're still in your brain. They're still in your heart. They're still in your soul. Even if it's thinking good or bad things, you have to let everything go, guys. And all of us have a great relationship. I used to question God why, because why would these children get ripped from a great mother? But then on my journey now, I get a lot of answers that come out of nowhere. I had a karmic family deaths, obviously, but a lot of the deaths were people that were in the family that caused it. So God could have saved my whole life knowing I had a bigger picture now. So anybody that gets discouraged that they didn't get to raise their children, or anything that really hurts you that you don't deserve in this world, it's not going to be easy. Hell no. Like I was just, I cried for at least a year every night before I went to bed when he took them away from me. And then I fought like with everything in my power, but I didn't keep no receipts. I didn't keep nothing. Keep receipts, guys, if you're separated. I'm telling you, it helps. But my son, and from that day forward, after I told my son that, like, I mean, it was a yelling match. I'm not gonna lie. We have been great. So don't keep that guilt and shame and keep like spoiling and trying, because it actually makes it worse. It really does, you guys. And then a lot of us parents have guilt or shame, mother or father have guilt or shame because we're trying to make up for these years that we didn't have in our life, but now they're grown. So I even had to go from when my youngest was, I think, 16, 15 in Florida with me. Because, yeah, that's another thing. One moved to Florida when the virus hit. Sent for him here. And we got to know each other. He is actually the biggest part of the reason, Mom, you need to forgive your dad. You need to forgive Dad. Hell no, Mom. Like that, Mom. Listen, we have to forgive. We have to. And we have to forgive ourselves. If it was or wasn't our fault, nobody's perfect. And we have to take accountability for our actions. And then when you take that accountability, you have to find grace, love, and forgive yourself. All these things are really hard, you guys, but it can be done. I'm living proof. I would never tell this story without crying, playing victim. Like, in all reality, it was just like, a lot of us we might have went to church or you know, have a little bit of grounding or boundaries or standards, but, you know, we lose them through life. We have to work our way back up to get them. But we're all human and we fuck up. If it was or wasn't your fault, or even if you're watching right now and you were the one that made the mistake by keeping the children or whatever you had going on, whatever you did in life, it's okay. I've never once gotten a I'm sorry from him. Never once. And that's all I ever wanted in the years before. So obviously that person feels they didn't do anything wrong, or they just don't take accountability, or they don't even know what love is, because a lot of us are raised and don't know anything about true love. I didn't even know about true love until since my journey started. And when I let go of my twin sister from her death, that'll be another topic. But I love you guys. Whoever this helped, God bless you. A lot of people need answers in this world, and a lot of things that we all went through. When I do music or videos, there's a lot of times my answers are coming just by me speaking. It's amazing, you guys. So don't ever think your story is too bad or this. There's so many people, millions in this world that went through similar incidences and they need help out of them now, or at least some kind of guidance. And you're that light. I'm that light. I love you guys. Have a great Saturday.